A significant severe weather risk in Indiana, Illinois on Wednesday, and other areas. We'll take a look at that. A tropical system may be forming near the Texas coast. I'm meteorologist Gary Lezak with Weather 2020. There is a river there above us that is cycling regularly within the lower atmosphere in the troposphere. And let's take a look at what it means for the next couple of weeks. In fact, we're going to look all the way into the middle of August with our LRC forecast. Let's take a look. Let's start, though, with our first slide here. Summer begins Sunday, the longest daylight of the year, the shortest night of the year, but the pattern doesn't end. It is continuing. This is your Weather 2020 forecast and intelligence report on June 16th. And yes, this is an AI-generated picture. You see those corn crops? Well, look what happens when hailstones like this actually fall. Here's a real picture. Justin Oldie sent this in from Washington County up in the northern Kansas area, the Oldie Dairy Farm, and you can see the corn was destroyed by these hailstones. You can see some large hailstones here. If you look closely, look at, there's one right there. Look at these big hailstones that devastated this corn crop. Not only was it flooded, but it got destroyed by hail, unfortunately. Thank you, Justin Oldie, for sending in this picture, but I'm sure that sort of stunk. All right, here's what's going on. Enzo has shifted from a La Nina to a developing El Nino. We will talk about that significantly in the next few months. Right now, any hype you hear about it, it's not having much of an effect in the weather pattern now. In fact, see this storm on May 27th? That's the upper level low at 18,000 feet up. We call it the 500 millibar level. All right, and then look, it happened 225 days earlier on October the 14th. We knew when this happened, it was going to return. It returned in late December, and it just returned again in late May. Right on schedule, the same pattern. Now, to showcase another part of the pattern, this energy coming across the Pacific into the Northwest on June the 7th, which led to all of our severe weather outbreaks in the last week. This energy came in. There's a little disturbance here, but look, there was a disturbance there in October as well, October 26th. So 12 days later, the pattern's the same. Almost every feature. You got this trough, this ridge, this ridge. And remember, this is June 7th. This is October the 26th. And look at this. See this? That was major Hurricane Melissa forming. And there's a disturbance that we've been tracking that's now near the Texas coast. In fact, this is the latest model. We go a few more days later, 9 more days later. You can see there's the tropical disturbance, but there was Melissa back on October 30th. And you can see this energy coming across Montana. This is important because this energy came across Montana in October as well. This is leading to a severe weather setup. So the pattern is right on schedule. In fact, this part of the pattern has produced tornadoes in October, January, April, and late March, and the last 10 days or so. Right on schedule this year, every about 11 weeks or so. This might shock you. Look at this. Let's come back out on camera. Now, the number of tornadoes this year in the LRC compared to a year ago, there are nearly 400 tornadoes less this year than last year. All right? So let's take a look at that again. All right? So here we are, and you can see the statistic there. Last year, October 5th to June 15th, 1,316 tornadoes by June 15th. This year, 934. So last year, this year, almost 400 less tornadoes, although tomorrow there could be a tornado outbreak. But look at that. That is significant. And this year's pattern, I know the storm chasers are out there, makes you think there's tornadoes everywhere. Now in Kansas City, it's near a record or a record breaker for the number of tornadoes that have been reported. But the southeast United States hasn't had as many. Let's analyze the pattern that we are developing right now. Again, here comes that energy across Montana, right? What's that going to cause? A storm system. Look at this. A low pressure area develops by tomorrow morning, Wednesday morning, if you're reading this on Tuesday. A 990 surface, though, which is pretty strong in South Dakota, southwest Minnesota. Severe thunderstorms may be ongoing early tomorrow morning in this area, and very hot conditions. Heat builds out ahead of it. And there's that tropical disturbance down in the Texas coast area. Could form into our first tropical storm of the season. We'll see as it moves inland. But this says it moves inland before it does so. Then by Wednesday at 4 o'clock, the low pressure area deepens. It's a strong one. Severe thunderstorms possible in Iowa, Minnesota, Illinois, Indiana, and they may trail back along this cold front near Kansas City. We'll just have to see if they form that far southwest. There's going to be a little capping on here. But definitely Indiana, Illinois, in this zone, significant severe weather. In fact, the setup for significant tornadoes in this region. And this cold front, it is not a weak summer cold front. Wait till you see what it's going to do. All right? There's a level 4 out of 5 risk for Indiana and Illinois, surrounded by a level 3 risk for Missouri to western Ohio, and then surrounded by a level 2 risk. All right? So the best chance of tornadoes is this shows a 15% probability of a tornado, a strong tornado, within 25 miles of your spot. Now that also means there's an 85% chance there isn't a tornado. But this is the significant tornado risk for Wednesday that could trail back into Missouri towards the Kansas border there. Temperatures 104, maybe 105 to 108, 110 out there near Las Vegas. So the heat building up. But watch this, that cold front coming down. Look at this heat that's going to feed these big thunderstorms at 4 p.m. Wednesday to 4 p.m. Thursday. Look at that, 60s. Let's look at that again. Watch this zone in Oklahoma and southern Kansas. 100s to 63 degrees. 94 to 63, gauge 104 to 71, 63 degrees there near Amarillo, 103 to 63, a 40-degree drop by Thursday. So this cold front means business. This is a pretty strong storm system. Rainfall amounts over the next 10 days, 2 inches or more, again near Kansas City possible. There's other thunderstorm risks coming in as summer begins. Dry out west, dry conditions continuing in Colorado. Concerned about fire danger out here. And there it is. You see this up through the mountains of Mexico? That's the beginning of the summer monsoon. And then here's the European model. As you can see, the European model over Kansas City, not as much. Lots of rain on the American model, not as much on the European model. But North Dakota, both of them show 1 to 3 inches of widespread rain over North Dakota, Minnesota, and Iowa. So it continues to be wet. So let's look at all the way into August. The LRC, we have a patent pending model. You can have this in your tool chest if you would like it. I'll give you that email to contact us, or you can go to weather2020.com. But look at this, June 30th to August 14th, rainfall, percentage of average rainfall. It shows Kansas, eastern Kansas, near average rainfall. That's about 5.5 inches of rain, 6 inches of rain out here. And then drier over southwest Kansas, which is showing only 50 to 60% of average rainfall. And then this chart shows a day-by-day outlook for rain using the LRC model. When there's 3 days in a row, you know it's probably going to rain in one of those 3 days. All right? But look, from mid-July, July 15th, 16th, all the way to the 1st of August, it shows a long dry spell developing over Kansas. It doesn't show no chance of rain, but below this line is the average line, so when it drops below that, most likely dry for about a 15-day stretch. And right in here, in the first half of August, it may really heat up as well. A heat wave, if there's a heat wave, it'd be right in here in August. That's for Kansas. How about Iowa? Same thing, about a near average rainfall close to Des Moines, surrounded by a little bit below average rainfall. And again, there's that dry spell for on July 14th all the way to the 29th. So Iowa has a couple of chances of rain there, but overall, a little less chance of rain up in Iowa in July into the first half of August. For Nebraska, Iowa, Illinois, Indiana, again, here's total rainfall forecast with 7 and 9 inches over Iowa. And most areas get 5 inches to 7 inches of rain between now and July 31st. And farther north, North Dakota, South Dakota, Minnesota, Wisconsin. Remember, if you have this tool, you can go into your state and down to your county and get that forecast just specifically for your county. Even if you just hover over it. I'll have to do a live demo next week. If you're interested, the LXC model is available. Contact us at hello@weather2020.com. Or if you have any questions, hello@weather2020.com, or go to weather2020.com and you can purchase it there. So that is your forecast. I hope everyone has a great day. Dangerous day possible on Wednesday. And let us know if you have any questions. I'd love to have a discussion with you. I'm meteorologist Gary Lezak with Weather 2020.